beautiful lovelies of the world. It's me, Queen Nightmare, and I am going to do the reading of A Sweet Tooth, a Drarry fanfiction. And it is 27 more days. I am so on edge, and my costume hasn't come yet. I'm sad. But we're not going to have a sleepover on the 31st, but we're going to have it on the 1st, which is called All Saints Day. So we're going to be spooky on All Saints Day. Ooh, we're an abomination to the world. I am so sorry. Let me do I think it's, forgot which year it's going to be. What is this? We already did 1997, right? Okay. We already did 1997. I had to reread it for a second, and it said, I'm going as Clint Eastwood, he mumbled. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. 2001. Oh, boy. Oh, I feel this now. Okay. Remind me, Cormac said patiently, why we had to come all the way to your house, your hometown for Halloween, where there were several perfectly good frats offering parties on campus. Harry sighed and shifted on his feet in the queue outside the club, throwing Mac what he hoped was a plaque. Smile. You, placating? Smile? I guess that's what it's supposed to say. You know why, he said quietly. It's a big holiday for us, and this is for charity. It's important. Mac rolled his eyes and crossed his arms. He could have been trying to keep warm in the slightly chilly air, or he could have been fed up. Harry wasn't sure, and it made him anxious. Don't try and guilt-trip me. I know it's a good cause. We could have just wired some money. That's all I'm saying. Harry was trying not to be upset with Mac. That Mac wasn't as enthusiastic as he was. He wasn't really into fancy dress to be fair. But Harry's town had made a big effort on short notice to get such a large fundraiser together. New York needs heroes right now, he said, offering another smile. We get to be real-life heroes for a night. He grinned as he swept his hand down between their lycra-clawed bodies. The theme of the night was just that, heroes. And despite protesting, he didn't want to make a fuss. Cormac had done an about turn and sprung for a proper Superman getup. Complete with cape and little trunks that didn't hide much. Mac rolled his eyes and pulled Harry into a hug. You're my hero, he said, planting a kiss on his forehead. I just, these little towns, they always make me feel like people are looking at us. Then quit with the PDA, Harry said affectionately, pushing him off. That wasn't affectionately, but you get the picture. That's what I would have done. Then stop with the PDA. Arr. He wasn't ashamed to be with his boyfriend. Wait, what? That's his boyfriend? Wait, I'm so confused. He moved on? No, what's going on with Drarry? I'm so sad now. I don't want to read this. Far from it. He just didn't like rubbing it in people's faces. It wasn't a gay thing. He didn't like when straight couples were all over each other either. There was a time and a place for it. Then moved forward in the queue. They moved forward in the queue. Besides, Harry said as Mac ignored the rebuttal and took his hand instead. I thought it was about time I brought you home to meet everyone. Dinner was good with my parents, yeah? This makes me cringe. Because it's not Drarry! Why did they call it a Drarry fanfiction if it's not Drarry? Sorry. I'm panicking right now. I don't like it. I just want to read ahead and skip everything like usual. Anyways, Max smiled warmly at him and rubbed his thumb across Harry's gloved hand. He hadn't put his mask on yet, but he had been equally as bold on his costume choice and gone for Spider-Man. So what are you saying about Spider-Man? He gay? Is that why you're bold about it? Never mind. Sorry, I had a moment. Sorry. Over. He had to build for it. So he figured, why not? Especially with the new film coming out next year. That he was slightly fanboying over. Dinner was great, Mac assured him. And it means we can go see my folks for Thanksgiving. So it all worked out fine. Keep calm, come on. I just don't like not knowing anyone when you know everyone. Small towns are creepy like that. Honey, I live in a small town. It's not that bad. Oh, Halloween's supposed to be creepy. He got a point. Harry, I am so sorry I'm talking so much. I am a talkative person today, and I'm easily annoyed. Because this isn't Drarry. If it was Drarry, I would be fine with it. Sorry. He agreed, fixing his muscles jokingly. This is what a real football player looks like, he added with a suggestive wiggle of his eyebrows. That makes me want to puke. Okay, he liked teasing that he a running back. Harry's choice in a man is disgusting. Ew. Unlike Harry, with his more leather frame suited to his beloved soccer. Soccer! No gayness in soccer. So much gayness in football. Harry found it best to deflect with humor, though, as Mac was only teasing. Oh, so I am imaginary, am I? He gouted. Yes, I've made you up. Are we ever getting inside? Wait, what? Wait, I lost. Wait, what? Wait. I am so confused. What? The leaky cauldron? Oh, okay. I have to... I'm having a moment, sorry. I don't feel good. Okay. The town council had organized the night at the only decent bar around, the Leaky Cauldron. One Harry had only imagined to sneak into a couple of times with fake ID. Now that he was actually 21, though, there was no need, and he was looking forward to seeing his friends from high school without having to creep around. Ew. Okay. Okay, fine, Mac said fondly, pulling him into a hug. Look, this is me, being a good boyfriend and having a good time, I swear. The woman on the door gave them the eye, and Harry instantly felt self-conscious. He'd not had much in the way of trouble when he'd come out in senior year, but he didn't want to antagonize anyone just because he'd gotten used to the slightly more liberal East Coast. Tickets, please? The woman dressed as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she's the best person, asked. He and Mac handed them dutifully over, okay, and finally headed inside. Half the town was here, Harry figured. Eyes roaming over the 2-story club as his ears got used to the pounding music. Do you want a drink? He yelled at Cormac. Do you want a drink? And he eagerly nodded back. So they started pushing their way to the bar. Harry saw several people he knew along the way, but mostly just waved at them as he and Mac continued on their quest to catch up and get some alcohol in their system. But as they approached the bar, Harry was happy to spot a familiar redhead, slightly taller than most. Ron, he bellowed and waved, and was rewarded with his best friend turning to spot him bursting into a wide grin. Harry, dude, he said, yanking him into a fierce hug and slapping his back a few times. Wow, what a frat boy. Anyways, good to see you. How are you doing? How you been? They swapped a few pleasantries, having only talked over email for the last few months, as Harry had to stay at his job over the summer back east. Hey, you remember that girl I told you about? Ron didn't wait for a reply. He turned and helped guide a girl from the throng over to his side. She had light brown skin and a great deal of dark, curly hair that she had tamed either side of century parting. Why can't people spell? And compared plaits that were sacred at the nape of her neck. Okay. She was wearing a heavy period dress that Harry thought might have been Victorian and looked sweltering but happy. This is my girlfriend Hermione, said Ron, practically beaming with pride. Okay, Ron ends up with Hermione. Where the hell is Draco? Come fix Harry right now. He's dating someone that ain't you. I'm so sorry. I'm yelling. I'm just so frustrated. Okay, anyways. Harry couldn't help but grin back. Ron's mood was infectious. Sorry. I can't spell. Everyone should know this. They call me that. Okay. Infectious. Lovely to meet you, he said, giving her a kiss on the cheek before turning and placing his hand on Mac's back. Ron, Hermione, this is my boyfriend, Cormac. Ron, mirroring Harry's enthusiasm at meeting his best friend's new partner, thrust his hands forward. Good to finally meet you, bro. Good to finally meet you, bro. Just hand him a beer. He'll be fine for the rest of the night. He said over the din of the club. Okay, whatever. Harry's talked a lot about you, man. I want to cry. And, Max seemed unsure and just nodded back. His costumes. Nice costume, he said to them instead, pulling Harry into a hug and nuzzling his neck. Harry froze, immediately on edge and unsure. And sure enough, Ron's face flickered a brief moment of uncomfortableness. For fuck's sake, he thought, trying to wriggle away from Mac. But he'd obviously seen Ron's face look too, and decided to keep up to spite him. I get you, he said to Ron, kissing Harry's neck and digging his fingers into his waist so he couldn't escape. Ron's costume was pretty self-explanatory, as Dick Tracy, but Hermione's wasn't half as obvious. Typically, though, Mac just came out and asked, "But who are you supposed to be?" he said. Most girls seem to be gone for Wonder Woman. Hermione, however, just endeared herself further to Harry by beaming back at Mac and smoothing down her skirts. "I'm Mary Seacole," she said. She was a Jamaican-British woman who revolutionized medicine in the 19th century. "I thought that was Florence Nightingale," Mac asked, and Harry batted his hand, begging him to stop. "They were both wonderful," Hermione conceded. "But they were both just nurses, though, yeah?" Mac pushed on. "Just nurses?" Harry spluttered. "You know what I mean," Mac laughed. "I thought the theme of the evening was heroes." Hermione smiled back, though. "Sometimes little black girls need to look a little further to find their heroes," she said simply. Ron beamed down at her in relief. "Yep," he said with a shaky laugh. "She's definitely the cool one in this relationship," he joked, and Hermione grinned back at him, a twinkle in their eyes. Harry was happy for them. "So," Ron continued, and Harry didn't miss the way his eyes flickered over his and Mac's closeness. "You guys have been together for a while now." Harry definitely pulled himself free and rested his hand on Mac's shoulder. Why did I call him Michael? No idea. Shooting him a look he hoped would convey that he wanted to stop pawing him. "Yeah, back over spring break. So that's about 6 months, I guess." "It's 7, Mac replied pointedly, rolling his eyes at Ron. "He never remembers our anniversary." The group laughed, but there was a tension Harry was increasingly unhappy with. "Hey, do you guys have seats or anything?" Ron pointed to where they and a few friends had a booth on the side of the room. "Why don't we get this round in and come meet you?" Ron seemed relieved to get away, and Harry's heart sank. "What the fuck was that?" he stared as he pushed towards the bar, Mac right behind him. "What?" he demanded. You saw the way he was looking at us, all the bro and dude crap. He had a problem. "Because you were making them uncomfortable," Harry shot back. Ron's my best friend. We've known each other since we were kids, and he doesn't have a problem with me being gay. And it's another thing to shove it in his face. He's doing exactly the same thing with his girlfriend. Mac hissed in his ear as they managed to ease closer to the bar through the throng. It's not my fault your town is homophobic. Babe, he said, resorting to pet name, almost tearfully. He was feeling sick. He didn't want to fight. He certainly didn't want to alienate Ron. Please, cut them a little slack. I swear, Ron was the first of my friends I came out to, and he's been nothing but supportive. That doesn't mean he has to be okay with us getting handsy. You know it makes me uncomfortable. Let alone anyone else. Mac's eyes flashed at the people around them as they reached the front of the bar queue, and Harry pulled out the folded up cash he'd hidden in his boot. I'm uncomfortable when you let yourself be cowed by people like this. Harry swallowed around the lump in his throat. I just don't think we have to show off, he said, trying to compress. I'm not ashamed. I'm not. But can we just keep it down a little whilst people get used to it? Mac's face was like thunder, and Harry slipped his hand scrumptiously into his amidst the crush of the crowd. Please, he said softly, giving his cheek a little peck. Isn't this enough? Mac sighed and finally softened a little. Okay, he said begrudgingly. I'm sorry. I'll try to be a little more patient. But you need to say the same thing to your friend. I don't like feeling like I'm being gawped at in the zoo, okay? Harry nodded, relieved. All right. They ordered so many drinks, as many drinks as they could carry, so they wouldn't have to come back for another round for a while. Plus, Harry was feeling guilty after about everyone being on edge, so had brought shots to try and lighten the mood. 2 trays loaded between them. They managed to push back through the crowd. When Ron and several other people had gone to the school with sacred booth. Mac was true to his word and started a fresh introducing himself to the rest of the group and being courteous with Ron and Hermione. As soon as Harry got a chance, he pulled Ron aside and whispered an apology to his ear. Don't be stupid, he said, flushing red under his yellow Tilbull hat. I don't care. I just, haven't seen that before. I'll get used to it. Harry was so relieved to hear that, he hugged his best friend again. He didn't worry about the warning he had lit up like Mac had insisted him he do. He felt they'd said enough. After a few more drinks, the atmosphere relaxed considerably, and Harry asked Mac if he felt all right being left alone whilst Harry went and found the men's. You don't need to ask permission, Mac joked. I'm not a delicate flower. I'll be fine. Harry tried to smile back, but his response had just set him on edge again. In case he wasn't really fine, Harry decided to be quick as he could. The club was even more packed now, and it took him a little while to reach the other side, where the toilets were located. He spotted a few more people he used to know from high school, as well as some old soccer team mates, kids he'd worked a few jobs with, and even an old teacher. Having said hello to them, most of them, he was absolutely bursting by the time he reached the men's and hurriedly relieved himself in the first free urinal. Likely, his Spider-Man costume was slightly more accommodating than the real Peter Parker, and he didn't have to get completely naked just to have a piss. As he finished, he leaned against the wall and sighed before rearranging himself again and washing his hands. Was Mac really okay? Or was he gearing up for another fight? They argued quite a bit. Harry knew, but didn't all couples? Mac just seemed to be riled up by so many things. Harry always seemed to be trying to calm him down again. He'd just hoped meeting his friends wouldn't be one of those occasions. Maybe it was too much, too many people, all dressed up. He should have probably started on a smaller scale, he pondered. Just a few of them at a bar or at home for a football game. He was so lost in his thoughts he almost walked into someone as he turned and made to leave the bathroom. Sorry, he said before he even realized who it was. Harry? Said the person incredulously, and Harry couldn't blame him. The bathroom light was dim, and they were both dressed as comic book characters, but there was no mistaking that blonde hair. And even if it was tucked under Dom's sort of antler crown. Whoa, jeez, it's been a while. How have you been? Harry broke into a smile, not sure why he was so relieved to see Draco Malfoy. Good, very good. You? He'd not changed much in the last 3 years, Harry figured. The same fine blonde hair and the sharp cheekbones he still held a little torch for, despite not having been in touch since graduation. They'd been never mentioned that night, but they'd always stayed friendly, and Harry was filled with involuntary warmth as Draco laughed back. Yeah, I'm great, he said with a nod, moving by the wall as people maneuvered past them to get to the cubicles. Just back for the fundraiser. Nice costume, by the way, he added with a flick of an eyebrow. Harry had forgotten that he looked like and glanced down, suddenly realizing rather exposed he shouldn't do. What did he care about what Draco thought? He was here with Mac, but a treacherous part of his brain was very keen to appear good for his former high school crush, even when he was internationally looking ridiculous. Thanks, he said, wishing he had a drink to occupy his hands. You too. It was true. Draco did look impressive, but Harry couldn't say he knew that characters wore green lycra and yellow capes, boots and utility belt, as well as a distinctive horned crown. Draco laughed humoredly, though. It's okay. No one seems to be a proper comic book fan around here. I'm Loki, he explained, then leaned in the devilish look in his eyes. More of an anti-hero, I guess. God of mischief, he elaborated further. Harry gulped. Yeah, he said. So, you're enjoying college? Yeah, it's fun, Draco said with a shrug. Heading back to midterms next week. They're such a bitch. Harry laughed in an argument, and they swapped a few campus stories. Chatting with ease as people came and went, he'd forgotten how easy it was to be around Draco. When he was devoid of the friends that had mediated Harry so much during school. Okay, guys, I am going to stop it there for today, even though the chapter isn't done yet, but I will do it in the next day. I am so sorry, but I have to put an end to this. It's already 30 minutes, but I love you guys so much, and give my subscribe button if you haven't actually done it yet. Turn on post notifications, and give this video a big thumbs up, and I love you all so much. Be happy, be healthy, and keep on loving everyone. Bye-bye.